are doing 90s till infinity on a Saturday. Shout out to all the Muslims that are celebrating Eid yesterday. This is the only
Eid
reason we couldn't get in.
Mubarak to
Eid
you
Mubarak to
all.
all y'all worldwide. This is going to be a very unique episode for us.
It's a very unique episode, and you kind of sparked the flame on this, my friend.
Well, I think one of the things what we talked about in the beginning was when we do this podcast, we can't just do artists we love because it's gonna be hella biased, and people are like, oh, you're just talking about everything everybody else talks about.
Facts.
What makes y'all different? And I think what makes us different is we're gonna challenge ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's hip hop is a huge landscape, and for us just to have tunnel vision and do what we like wouldn't be fair to y'all. So we're gonna do a little bit of everything, whether we like it or not. And this album, this artist, is someone that we now at this point in our hip hop legacy or hip hop listening career or whatever you want to call it, we both are not fans.
Yeah, I think he's been very polarizing from day one.
Definitely.
I think a lot of older heads that see his name are kind of like, oh, I don't like that.
He's etched a name in he is in hip hop. He's gotten respect from huge hip hop artists. Mm-hmm. He was signed by one of the biggest labels. He had a bidding war. We'll get into all that.
Yeah.
So this guy's not. He is in the landscape. Just we're not a fan. But regardless, we're doing it for y'all.
This is what 90s Till Infinity does.
That's right.
Impartial. Talk about the music. Get into the albums. Who are we talking about today?
So today, what episode are we at? I can't keep track. You're always good at
9.
That. Episode 9. There you go.
Crazy.
And thank you to everybody watching out there.
Much love to all the subs that have come through recently, man. We appreciate y'all.
We do. So today we're gonna do an artist by the name of Rick Ross, aka Ricky Rose, aka The Boss,
aka William Leonard Roberts.
Oh, you're doing legal names.
Second.
see, he only does legal names when he doesn't like the person.
No,
and there's a reason for it, and I like where you're going with.
So
that.
before we get into
your distaste is really coming out early.
So before we get into the connoisseur's corner,
yes.
Let me clear my spirit so we can get into the music. For those of y'all that know, Rick Ross came on into the scene like gangbusters, kicked the door down.
He did.
And for me, it felt a little inappropriate because he co-opted the name and the legacy of the real Freeway Ricky Ross. Shout out to Freeway Ricky Ross. The OG of OGs. Now, I don't want to get it twisted. We're not celebrating drug dealers.
No.
We're not celebrating drug culture. We're not celebrating the death that was caused because of the crack epidemic. But what I do have to do is salute the real Rick Ross for not only figuring out a way to take what the hood gave him and turn it into a billion-dollar industry, but then getting arrested, going to jail, doing his bid, learning the law, defending himself, and getting himself out of prison. Because I don't know how much you know about that case, but the way the court set it up, they were trying to give him life. They were trying to give him 3 strikes and then life in prison.
I know he got himself out eventually by educating himself.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize.
But they tried to game the system by saying that 3 offenses happen in 1 charge, but you can't do that.
Right, 1 charge is 1 charge.
1 charge is 1 charge.
Right.
So they tried to stack all the charges, give him 3 charges, and give him life.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And he's actually figured that out himself.
Right.
Fought the law, and he won. So anybody that fights the criminal justice system, which is very criminal in the U.S., I gotta give him props for that. So that is how we want to begin this, at least, by letting you know that we're not celebrating Freeway Ricky Ross's legacy, but what I am going to make sure people know is that at that time in LA, in the early 80s, there were no options. There were no options. Yep. And if you really want to do a deep dive into the conspiracy theories, just look at COINTELPRO, you'll see it yourself, and see how the US government used to leave trains open with guns and drugs in them.
Contra, right?
Yeah. The Iran-Contra, COINTELPRO, all of
They literally brought it in to the hood.
The destruction of the Black Panthers, all of that took place.
Right.
And the result were people like Nicky Barnes and Rick Ross and a lot of these drug dealers, Alpo, a lot of these dudes that capitalized off of that broken system. But enough of that, Connoisseur's Corner.
So Rick Ross, a little backstory on Rick Ross, the artist. Originally from Carroll Gardens aka Carroll County, Miami, Florida. So in the States, they have a lot of smaller cities called counties. They call them counties, right? Even in like Washington, if you go over them, they have little. Miami, Florida, down south artist. A lot of people know him just from when he first came on with Def Jam and he made the big splash, like Alite said. But he was actually signed way before. So I don't know if you know, but he started off at Swab House Records.
Oh, wow.
Shout outs to Swab House Records. If some of you know, you know. But Swab House Records was a record label, Memphis, Tennessee, to be exact. And they were a record label before No Limit, and before Cash Money in the South. They were
smooth,
total, very
gangsta player shit,
under the radar a little bit. But they were a record label in like 92, 93, representing the South. And other than Rap-A-Lot and Luke Records, they were the only other.
Who was Swab House notable? I know Tella. Swab House notable.
So Tony Draper,
shout
out to Tony Draper. He was the CEO of Swab House Records. And yes, so they had artists like Tila, Crime Boss, Mr. Mike, who was the one half of the group South Circle, who was part of and then of course 8Ball and MJG. And if you don't know who 8Ball and MJG is, you need to educate yourself. One of the best, not even the best duos from the South, but of all time in hip hop. Would you say? Would you agree with that?
Space Age Pimpin', still in the playlist.
Classic,
epic song.
Hit Him Hard. I mean, the list goes on and on. And yeah, so that's basically Swab House. So he started off. He was signed to Swab House. He never released an album, but he was signed by Swab House early on. And his original name was actually not Rick Ross. He went under the name Teflon the Don. Yeah, which is that was his original hip hop name. But he made his recording debut, and I didn't even know this until I read this. But believe it or not, you're gonna flip out. But he made his debut on Eric Sermon's album. For Def Squad. Def Squad presents Eric Sermon. And he was on a song, and that is so random.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so that's where people first heard
it's Eric Sermon's fault.
So Eric Sermon, I mean, and we love E-Dog, but I mean, that was,
terrible choice.
But, and then he changed his name to Rick Ross, just like Lee was educating us earlier, from the former drug kingpin Freeway Ricky Ross. He has no connection to him whatsoever, but listen, hip-hop is all about drugs. It's all about, at times, it's not about drugs, it's glorifying figures who are already there, whether they're drug dealers, whether they're mafia guys, right? Like you hear a lot of Gaudis, you hear a lot of Godfathers, you hear a lot of Frank Wright, like Biggie used to talk about it. Like there's always or even freedom fighters like Pac used to talk about, right? So that's the thing that we do in hip hop. It's just what it is. I mean, you see the Godfather behind us. It's just
some of y'all might be like, oh well, why didn't the real Rick Ross do something about the name? He actually did reach out to Rick Ross.
That's right.
To try and say, hey, you can use the name, but let's do it properly.
Right.
Rick Ross said no. Freeway Ricky took him to court, and Rick Ross, the artist, actually won the case because the judge said freedom of speech applies in this case, and because he's not directly taking stories from your life,
that's right.
It's influenced by your life. Rick Ross is able to win the lawsuit and keep the name. Very unfortunate.
Right, and because Congress has an infringement law, but there's a freedom of infringement too, where you can use it until with so much information, and he never did. And like Alite said, he never actually indulged into the actual Rick Ross's information, so he got away with it. But nonetheless, you think, wouldn't you try to work something out? I mean, this guy's an OG.
You would want that street cred,
wouldn't you?
Because you're automatically solidified, right?
Right.
Like if the real Ricky Rose is in your Rick Ross is in your videos, then everyone looks at that like, yo, he actually went and got dude,
right?
And now you can actually solidify your gangster, and then 50 Cent can't make you look like a chump.
It's true.
Because 50 played him hard.
And we'll get into that. But then on the flip side, we had guys like Noriega, Capone, Gaddafi, right, so on and so forth.
Endless.
Hussein, they didn't do that. So are we scrutinizing him a little bit more because because the actual Rick Ross is alive, and in the States where these other monikers that people use are kind of either not around anymore or so far off the grid that
yeah,
we don't care.
There's some of that, and I think there's also so let's just say Fatal Hussein, for example, you Saddam Hussein. You're not gonna have Fatal Hussein is not gonna have the opportunity to get to Saddam.
Yeah,
right?
facts.
Like Noriega's not gonna have a chance to get to Emmanuel Noriega. He actually did talk to the family of Noriega.
I never knew that.
And he actually did get the cosign to use the
Oh
name.
shit, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nori did do the damn thing. But a lot of these artists wouldn't have had access to get to those people.
Yeah.
But for Rick Ross, he had direct access.
Right.
And he chose not to. Like, he deliberately chose not to. Like, imagine Al Capone being alive, and then Capone reaches out to Al. I'm sure at that, having those opportunities, I don't think those gangsters would have said no. I think it would have been something that they could use as clout. But the problem is, the mafia world, Italian mafia world, they don't fuck with black people.
It's true.
Very, very racist.
Extremely.
So that to me has always been weird because...
But yet they still...
Yeah, because...
Hip-hop holds the mob in such high regards. I mean, I do too when I watch the movies and TV shows. It's some of the best...
Dude, it's that Cosa Nostra
it's my favorite. Right? It's probably my favorite genre.
For sure.
Right?
It's that Cosa Nostra thing.
Yeah.
The family thing, you know, and the building of something from nothing. All of those things. But unfortunately, they were heavily racist.
Heavily racist, yeah. Do you think it's it hurts a little bit more for him not reaching out because they're both African American men who could have really done something?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's kind of Rick Ross where he started. He didn't really go anywhere with Swab House after that. He was kind of, I don't want to say shelved, but no projects really came out. After that, he eventually signed a deal with Slip and Slide Records. So our first introduction to Slip and Slide Records. So Slip and Slide Records is an independent record label based out of Miami, Florida, ran by a guy named Ted Lucas. He's the CEO. And Slip and Slide, their notable artists are Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy Dollars.
Classic.
You
veteran. I mean, one of the best to do it. Trina,
for sure.
the baddest bitch.
Yep.
One of the baddest female
Still
MCs.
out doing a thing.
Still out there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Slip and Slide they had some local artists too, but they didn't really have other than those two, they didn't really have a lot of.
But they had some big hits.
But that's exactly right. So with the two artists they had. Though between Trick and Trina, they had a lot of club bangers, and they sold a lot of units, especially like we're talking like 98, 99 to about, we're talking about 97, 98 to about 2003 when they had their run. But they made a stamp,
and some of those hits still bump.
Oh yeah,
like Shut Up is still
definitely,
a banger.
Definitely, and I'm a Thug. I'm a Thug. Yeah. So he got signed over there, which makes sense. Miami rapper, right?
Yeah.
Miami label. And he did a couple of guest appearances on some early Slip and Slide albums, but never released once again, never released a solo project. He in March of 2006, I guess he had built some buzz in the independent world, and people started noticing him, and he was actually a subject of a bidding war. Did you know that?
That's crazy.
So check this out. He received offers from Diddy, from Bad Boy Entertainment to sign with them. Irv Gotti gave him an offer. But guess who gave him the biggest deal?
And
this is going to hurt you.
Oh, no.
This is going to hurt you quite a bit. This hurt me a little bit.
Bad Boy.
Yeah, but there was one individual who at the time was the president of the label and took him and gave him
Jay-Z, Def Jam?
That's nice.
Shit.
Multi-million-dollar contract without even hearing an album. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, Jay made some bad decisions as president.
He did it, definitely.
Yeah.
He dropped the ball. He dropped the ball a
He
little
screwed up
bit.
some careers for a moment.
He made a lot of big careers.
Yeah.
Rihanna.
Yep.
Right? And listen, Rick Ross at the time was a smart move. He sold
the album was massive.
See, the end of the day, Jay's like he says, he's a businessman. He doesn't really give a shit if you're good or not. If you can sell units, he doesn't care what you. As a president,
businessman. I'm a business man.
How do you feel about that? If you're a CEO, is it? Because everybody talks about art, but you got to pay the bills.
Sure.
So, is there a thin line between artistry and selling units.
Yeah, I think it depends what your motivations are. I'm a purist.
If you're in his shoes, in Jay-Z's shoes, and you're running this huge label, it's not about the artistry at that point, right? It's about selling. I mean, because you have shareholders, they want to see numbers.
So it can be. I mean, I think what he could have done, what would have been the smart thing to do, would have been to absorb Raucus. Right? You had Pharaoh Monch, you had Black Star, Talib, and Mos. You had all of these rappers, and Raucus was bubbling. Like, they were selling units independent. They were getting onto the charts. Like, Respiration got into the Billboard Top 200.
Yeah.
There were these bangers, and Jay-Z as an MC, he could have turned that thing into a monster.
But do you think they would even sell units like that? Even on Def Jam?
No, they wouldn't do the multi-platinums, but you would get a steady stream of gold albums from all these guys. Because Common was there too at the time.
That's true.
Common was just coming into his own.
Right.
A lot of those artists would have popped off. Because most Def still has a career. Talib Kweli still releases album independent.
You're right.
Pharaoh Monch would have been doing his thing. So there could have been a space. But again, I'm a purist.
Yeah.
Hip-hop is in the blood.
Right.
So for me, I would never go to the units. I would go to where's the magic happening.
I get it.
So
I get it. Yeah, that's fair. But ultimately he signed him. So he saw, and that's where this episode gets really weird. Because he had so much he had so many cosigns that it's hard to discredit him a lot, because at the end of the day, the biggest of the biggest, I mean, you have a guy like Jay-Z signed him a multi-million-dollar contract for one album, and this man didn't even release an album.
Is this around the time that Jeezy was coming in?
Yeah.
And,
so Boys in the Hood, which was a group on Bad Boy, which had Young Jeezy. Okay. Remember, that's where he started.
Yep,
Do you remember Boys in the Hood?
Yep.
So he had just left and signed with Def Jam.
Okay.
And then Jay took over.
Oh, I see.
So Young Jeezy's first project had just come out.
So dudes like Gucci,
TM 101,
T.I., Ross.
Gucci was bubbling.
So they're all kind of in the
same. But he was kind of in that same, So, signs a multi-million-dollar deal with Def Jam, so he's already rich without releasing an album, which is crazy. But so the album that we're reviewing today was his debut album, titled Port of Miami. Why Port of Miami? It's an odd title for a hip-hop album. Not really, because it's if some of you know Miami and you've seen Scarface, that's enough. You know exactly what Miami's about. And they're about that white powder, the good stuff, cocaine, and they're a direct link with what is it, like Cuba and
Cuba's right there.
A lot of
Nicaragua, a lot of these
drug producing countries, and it's an easy way in to bring the drugs in. And Miami was notorious. It probably still is, but at one time in the 80s, there was something like $800-900 million worth of cocaine coming in. Miami on a yearly basis.
I would say it's either the same or bigger now. I think the difference now is institutionalized. Right? They have an actual pipeline to get things in and out, whereas before it would be the hustlers doing it.
Yeah. Even like recently, if some of you have seen that TV series on Griselda.
Right.
She was all involved in all that whole thing.
Shout out Sofia Vergara. She was amazing.
Great show, by the way. So Miami is known for its coke and obviously the port, which boats bring in illegally or legally. So it's a smart title in that sense. And Rick Ross's whole, even not so much now, mind you, I haven't heard a lot of his new stuff, but his first couple of albums was heavily coke, drug-filled rap. Just like guys like Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy and the Clips.
Yep.
Like they like that topic and they do it well.
Shout out Pusha T.
But here's where it gets once again a little funny, and I didn't know this until after a couple of albums later. Someone either exposed him or he got exposed. But so Rick Ross worked as a correctional officer. And this is not a joke. And he worked as a correctional officer for 18 months, from December 1995 until June 1997 when he resigned. Now, he didn't start rapping until early 2000s, and I really don't know what his raps were prior to his first album, so I don't know what he rapped about. But can you, in your opinion, can you be a correctional officer and then retire from it, and then years later rap about Or okay, can you be a rapper? Period. And if you can you talk about things like drugs and guns and this kind of stuff? Although you're talking about a criminal lifestyle, you were once on the other side of the fence. But I mean, people can do the opposite too. People sometimes are criminals in the beginning, and then after they change their lives.
Yeah, sure.
But in this case, what's your thought on it?
This is a failure of the fan base to not hold artists accountable.
Right.
And I think it's a dramatic failure. I think I think Rick Ross was the entryway for dozens of fake gangsters to kind of manipulate their image and become this thing that they never were. And not to say that rappers from the 90s were actual gangsters.
No.
Some of them had street cred.
Right.
Some of them were just storytellers.
Right.
But no one adopted this figure
True.
that already existed and said, hey, I'm this dude now, but I was just a corrections officer. That part of it to me is extremely fraudulent. I can't fuck with that side of things. When I see that, I'm like, yo, you were just essentially punishing dudes for rapping about the things that you're making millions off of.
Right.
You're criminalizing these dudes on a daily basis. You're probably harassing them. You might be smacking them around a little bit.
True.
You might be abusing them because we know Americans' corrections is
The
awful.
Worst.
So you have access. You're in a position of power. You're debating these people on a daily basis, and now you come out rapping, saying, "I'm this dude that I used to criminalize." That's wholly fucked up. It's like me all of a sudden rapping about being a white supremacist. Like, yo,
Yeah.
you're on two opposite sides of the spectrum. How do we find a middle ground? This is why, for me, when the album came out, I never listened to it.
Right.
I don't even think I listened to one song.
Right.
The only reason I ever heard Hustlin' was because of Cat Williams. And we'll get into that eventually as well.
Right.
But the very first time I ever heard this album was this week.
Me too. So are you saying that he shouldn't even be a rapper or a gangster rapper?
I think he could be a rapper. I think anybody could be a rapper. I just think you rap about what you live. Right? You rap about what you know. You rap about where you come from. He could have easily been a rapper rapping about other people ruining their lives, getting caught up in the shit, and still living that boss mentality, but just not co-opting the stories as if they're his.
Right.
That's where the disconnect is.
So the music becomes less credible, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right. And you know what? I say same. My introduction was the same. I remember in 06 when Hustlin came out. It was played at some parties and stuff, and then I heard it on the internet, and I liked it because I really liked the music. The beat was dope, and the song was good. I never bought the album, nor did I hear the album because YouTube wasn't even available when this album came out. Believe it or not, so you couldn't even really go that route. So yeah, I never actually went and bought the album, but I did like Hustlin'. I'm not gonna lie, I still like Hustlin'. I still like it as a song. But yeah. So anyways. Port of Miami debut album releases on August 8th, 2006. Damn. So it was on 3 labels. It was on Po' Boy Entertainment, Slip Inside Records, and Slip Inside Records made a deal with distribution deal with Def Jam. And then Def Jam obviously included that debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200s, which is quite impressive for a debut album from an artist who never released even a mixtape.
For real.
That's actually quite
nuts.
Like now it's different, right? Because you have exposure everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But back then
you could be a social media star, drop music and be #1.
But back then you weren't. That's actually impressive. 187,000 units sold in its first week. First single was "Hustlin" that was released, which got a huge amount of reviews. There was a remix version, which we'll talk about later, which had Jay-Z and Young Jeezy, which gave it more credibility. And the second single was "Push It," and that was the 2 singles that were officially released. It was certified. The album was certified gold.
Damn. By
November of the same year, and with over 500,000 units. And as of July 2016, because they haven't updated it, it was certified platinum. So platinum album.
Platinum album is a big deal.
Huge.
10 years.
Yeah. A little background on Ross too. After he had success with his first couple albums, he opened his own record label called Maybach Music Group, MMG. And a lot of you guys probably have heard the British girl saying Maybach Music. that moniker is so famous. And he signed some dope rappers. In 2008, he had a roster of
Alma Smokers,
Meek Mill, Wale, French Montana, and Omarion.
So I think everybody you just mentioned is whack except for Wale. I fuck with Wale. Huge shout out to Wale. Super underrated rapper.
I you know what? I liked early Meek Mill, so I can't say I don't like early Meek Mill, like Dreams and Nightmares. For me, I thought he was. Now, no. So
yeah, Wale is a killer, man.
Wale
he never puts out bad music.
Wale wasn't bad. Yeah, I like some of his songs. French Montana. I liked some of his songs prior, not so much now. Omarion, no, I never.
Omarion, the singer.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like B2K, I like B2K. I thought they had a couple of jams, but not as a solo artist. I don't really.
Omarion just got Icebox.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, yeah. So and he had some success there, and he did well. But yeah, that's basically Rick Ross in a nutshell.
You might have to turn the background music down a tiny bit, just in case we don't get flagged by YouTube.
And so yeah, so Rick Ross. I mean, some people like him, some people hate him. He's had a lot of feuds over his career. The major one, if some of you guys probably know, is with 50 Cent. It started like in 2009.
Shout out 50 Cent.
One of my favorites.
East Coast bully.
And he said Rick Ross said that he looked at him wrong at a BET Awards, and then he had said something, and then 50 Cent went on this tangent because you know how 50 Cent is.
And then, what after his baby moms?
Right, and then he created a character called Curly.
Right.
And he wore like an afro, and that was supposed to be Rick Ross, and it was so ridiculous, but it was so funny. Pimpin' Curly or something.
50's amazing.
It's on YouTube, so look at it. But
Shout out 50 Cent.
But then Ross released a bunch of more albums, and he had some success, and he's got a lot of money now.
He had a lot of success.
He invested in a lot of businesses, and he bought Evander Holyfield's old house in Atlanta. Oh yeah, and he's got this huge. So he's done well for himself.
He owns Wingstop.
Yeah, but he's not the prominent rapper he is obviously that he was.
I don't think he'd be able to be anymore.
And he's not anymore.
No.
He had recently come to Vancouver last year, and I mean people were like
one of his homies got knocked the fuck out.
Right, and that was because Rick Ross and Drake used to be cool. And now, not so much.
So actually, I heard it wasn't because of that.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
So I'm not gonna name names, but I do know the dudes involved. And it was really interesting. So you've heard of Mercules?
Yeah.
Signed to Death Row Records.
Yeah.
Slight affiliations to the crew that was involved, and supposedly Rick Ross was out in the streets, just trying to hang out in Vancouver.
Okay.
And some other dudes were out there that want to check his gangster. Like, yeah, what the fuck? You can't just be out here walking around like this.
Oh, really? In Vancouver?
In Vancouver.
Damn.
So Rick Ross security tried to step up and got dropped. And then Rick Ross bounced.
So that's what it was.
Nothing to do with Drake. Drake's impact didn't spread to the West. There was none of Drake's people involved. Nothing OVO represented in that crew. I don't want to give the person's name up that did the doing. I don't think Rick Ross is going to press charges anyways.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But it also happened at the concert. So this is two different things that happened?
Two different things.
Because at the concert, someone got hit too.
Oh.
Remember you see him running off backstage?
Oh, shit,
Because he was in the crowd, and then remember, all of a sudden you see him running.
Yeah, so this actually happened outside the concert where the tour buses and shit were.
Right.
That's where the dude got knocked out.
So there you go. New facts.
So I don't think he's going to be able to tour and make money across North America.
Agreed.
But if he stays in the South, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, and I don't think he needs to. Because he's got a lot of money. He's bought a bunch of wing stops over the years and some other business. So he
likes wings.
He's got that, he's got that wealth coming in, and good for him in that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, your overall, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I liked Rick Ross. I did. I didn't buy any of his albums, but I did like some of his songs. Hustling, The Boss with T-Pain from the second album. He had a couple of collabs with Drake and Jay. Like he was there. He was he had some bangers. I haven't listened to a Rick Ross song, a new song, probably in at least 10 years, maybe even longer. So, am I a fan now? No, I'm not a fan anymore. But I'm not going to lie and say there's not some of his catalog that I do like.
So before we get into the first song, I just want to shout out everybody that tunes in. We appreciate you. Saturday afternoon live. Normally it's a Friday night live. Make sure you hit the subscribe on the High Phrase podcast page so you can keep up to date with what's happening with 90s Till Infinity.
Please.
We're going to keep on going because hip-hop is a culture that we're a part of and we absolutely love. And we want to represent it in the most beautiful way possible. And it's by talking about the music.
100%.
So let's get into this first track.
So where do you see Rick Ross overall as an artist? Do you have any respect for him whatsoever for what he's brought to the table?
Personally, I don't. The only thing I can give him credit for was he kind of reintroduced cinema to music videos.
Oh, okay.
Because the music videos were always very high production value.
That's true, actually.
The imagery that he portrayed, even though it's not really what I would create, the imagery, the landscapes that he would use, the glorifying of the beauty of Miami.
Right.
A lot of these things he did at a very, very high level.
It's true.
So that part of it, it's really the only thing I can look at.
And he's not the worst rapper in the world.
I mean, okay.
There's rappers that are
we're gonna talk about it a little bit. In some of these songs,
right.
I feel like he is. I feel like he's a cliche rapper. So I feel like he's taking all of the catchphrases of hip hop throughout generations,
that's an interesting
and essentially uses those catchphrases and makes them rhyme.
Right.
I don't think he brings anything original to the game lyrically.
So let me ask you this: why does he get so much? Well, he did not anymore, but at one time, guys like Jadakiss, Fabulous, Jay-Z, Jeezy, like they had it. He's done songs with Nas.
Dude, that shit hurts my heart, man.
Like Wayne, like T.I., Luda. Like he's done Snoop. He's done songs with, and it's not like he's going, like they're coming to him.
Yeah.
And he was on so many different albums.
Dude, hip hop is mad hypocritical. I hate it in that way.
But there is a common denominator, no?
For sure. And I feel like it's,
they all can't be wrong, right?
I feel like they understand the hype. I feel like they understand how it can benefit them.
Right.
I feel like they understand how they can catapult themselves while still being relevant and cool. Like the same way some old heads, golden era rappers from the 90s will do collabs with just this generation artists, even though they may not connect musically. Like LL Cool J had Sweetie on his newest album.
I see what you're saying.
There's just some things that I think artists do to manage their careers.
Right. To appeal to more of the masses.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off fan bases and stuff like that.
So not necessarily his talent per se.
For sure. More off the imagery, more off of the impact, more off of, I can tour in the South if I'm aligned. There's a lot of strategic partnerships I feel like people
that's a fair point.
do, because if you're just looking at it musically, and if you're just looking at it based off of what would be considered credible,
right?
What reason would there be to rap with this dude? It makes no sense to me for some of these people. Like, I would think if you want a credible Southern artist, you fuck with Outkast. You go to Killer Mike. You go to Scarface. You go to even Uncle Luke. Like, you go to the guys.
Right.
But he was new. He had nothing going. He has no rap sheet. He's got no... And I'm not saying you need a illegal rap sheet to have cred, but if that's what you're rapping about...
But you can't be a corrections officer and then...
Yeah, man.
That makes it
what
worse.
the fuck? And I feel like that's when people started to get co-signed that should never been co-signed. Dudes like, fucking French Montana as well. Another one of these dudes.
Right.
That I just think that completely irrelevant, makes no sense. But they got a bubble. And I'm sure the same shit will happen. I'm going to put out an album called Brown Side Up. It's going to create a buzz in the Indo-Fijian population. And I think people are going to see that like, that's an untapped fan base. Maybe I can piggyback off that shit. So that may happen to me in my career as well. The difference with somebody like me is I'm a fucking purist.
Right.
I'm not going to do shit just for the wave. I've had opportunities to be in positions to capitalize financially on opportunities. But it didn't align with who I am. So I'm like, I'm not going to fuck with that. I've already been in those positions.
So you do have a moral compass when it comes to the artistry.
Absolutely, because
right?
dude, the art matters, man.
Yeah.
The art matters. What makes the art is the shit that comes from nothing to do with money.
I see it.
Not a dollar involved. But you make it because you love it.
There's some actors who will say, like sometimes they have to sign the Marvel movie to make their art movie.
Sure.
So would that be true?
So I think there's a piece of that's true. But let's use an example. Let's say somebody like Mark Ruffalo.
Right.
Incredible Hulk.
Great actor without Marvel, but has done a lot of Marvel stuff.
Has a great career.
Yeah.
An actor's actor.
100%.
Can get work whenever he wants. If he wants to. But the thing is, there's not a lot of meat for him to attach to.
Right.
So he gets this Incredible Hulk deal. I think they signed all the Avengers to like a 10-movie deal.
Right.
And the fucking massive paychecks.
Right.
But now, moving forward, Mark can do whatever he wants. But he didn't diminish himself doing the Hulk. I don't think less of Mark Ruffalo for being Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk's got crazy dualities. He's this brilliant scientist, and then this raging monster. So now when mainstream fans think of Mark Ruffalo, they're not going to think, oh, he's a bad actor. They're going to think, oh, that's the best Hulk we've seen.
And then if he makes an artsy movie, they'll be more interested to watch it.
But with this, I feel like you align with somebody that morally is not like you, musically is not like you.
Right.
And then you do it because in the moment it matters. That's where I'm kind of like, I lose respect.
So when a Jay-Z puts a Rick Ross feature on his album, you don't like it.
I don't like it. But then when Jay-Z does the Hustlin feature and just comes and fucks the whole track up, that makes sense to me. Because lyrically, I know what he's thinking, and nobody's fucking with me on this track. I'm murdering everybody. It's just like when Lil Wayne does collabs with every single motherfucker on the planet. He knows my pen is going to ruin this guy's life. They're not going to be able to do anything with my verse.
I get it, yeah.
Right? So I get it from the competitive standpoint, but we also know Jay-Z's an opportunist, man.
100%.
Jay-Z is...
Did he not do the same thing on Ha with Juvenile?
The thing is, because he has his ear to the street...
I don't even think he likes half of these songs. But he knows they're so massive that he knows he can probably get on it because the artist who's doing it is going to be like, yeah, I want to do this. Of course, it's
Jay. And because Jay has his ear to the street, he's early. He got to Juvenile early.
So is he an opportunist or is he just smart?
I think both. I think both. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've heard all the stories with Dame Dash and Kareem Big Burke and all
especially
that.
now coming out.
So we know that there's more to his opportunism.
Of course.
He's a little cutthroat.
Of course.
Some might say he might be a bit of a sneak. I'm not saying it because Jay's one of my favorite of all time, and I can't wait to do a Jay album.
But we have heard a different side of him.
You got to assess the character based on what people are saying.
Right.
Fair enough. And the fact that he did 2 albums with R. Kelly when Dame Dash is like, yo, he's a fucking pedophile. Can't really do that. Shout out to Dame Dash. Because Dame was calling the shit out way back before.
Yeah.
And Jay was like, well, we're going to do it anyways.
And then he cut out a lot of important people for the check.
So I feel like Jay's a little, there's a little gray area with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
And I'm hypocritical as fuck for giving it. But you'll know why once we get to a Jay album.
I think we all
for
are.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
we talk about Dre too and what his background, but we can't.
Yeah.
We
don't
overlook it. But
Pac said we're all hypocrisies. Everyone's a hypocrite.
Facts.
You can't be in this world and not be a hypocrite.
I guess you got to pick and choose.
You got to pick and choose.
Really bad and what's tolerable.
And the things that align with your character will eventually shine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's go into the album. So the album has a total of 19 tracks. It's got an intro and then 18 full tracks. Total length is 77 minutes.
Shit.
So it's a longer album.
Albums
are usually hip hop albums are about an hour, so it's a little bit longer. Number one, the intro. So it's a short intro. It's like 24 seconds. It's a radio station. It's a radio broadcast talking about a drug seizure. Carroll County Cartel. K Fox. So if some of you don't know who K Fox is, she used to be on Hot 97's Breakfast. Not their Breakfast Club, but it was what do you call it? Ebro in the Morning. So she's kind of like a hip hop journalist.
Crazy.
I think she went over to Revolt a couple of years ago, but she's definitely got some hip hop cred. So she's doing the announcing. It's kind of it's a good intro because
cool.
it's talking about a drug seizure. The album's called Port of Miami. Yeah. He's kind of giving you a taste of what is to come.
It sets the stage.
24 seconds, so I don't know how to give it a 5 out of 5 or even a 0 out of 5 because it's so short. So I give it a 3 out of 5.
Exactly where I was at. 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
It's creative.
Track 2, Push It. So this is a really good jump off to an album. For me, I always, because we saw a lot of that in the 90s and the early 2000s. What that first track was the impact
had to be huge.
Right?
Yeah.
No Limit did that a lot. But there was a lot of, even like Dre albums. And then the Eazy-E albums. The first track was always Pac albums.
You gotta grab their throats.
You really do.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that now. Narrative has changed, but back then it was. And this is a really dope song in my opinion. It's produced by J.R. Rodham, who's a Jewish producer. White kid from, I want to say, it's either New York or Boston, but he's got a similar trajectory to a Scott Storch.
Right.
Hip hop, they can play a hip hop fan from little. They can play a numerous amount of instruments. Very musically talented. And J.R. Rodom's produced a whole bunch of hits, pop hits as well. So, anyways, the song is called "Push It." It samples the song "Push It to the Limit" from the movie Scarface.
Yes.
And you can feel that if you've seen Scarface, and we've seen it too many times to count. You know right away, it's got that Miami drug, 80s vibe.
Yeah.
And the sample works really well.
It really does.
For me, I think it's and you know it's funny because I don't remember listening to the song back in the days, but I like it.
I remember.
I don't remember it.
I remember. I don't remember the song, but I remember this video.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a video I think where he jumps off the bridge when he's trying to escape the cops.
So it's very, like you were saying earlier, very Hollywood.
Scarface.
Yeah.
It's very Scarface. It's very pretty.
Big budget.
Yeah, very pretty video.
Hype Williams-esque.
Great visuals.
Right. Okay.
The sample is fucking amazing.
I think it's great.
Yeah. The beat's incredible. J.R. Rodham killed it.
Yep.
Again, it's tough for me, man.
Lyrically.
Yeah, I'm looking at it lyrically. I was like, Port of Miami, I'm importing the candy. Ain't got nothing to lose. We supporting the family.
Did you say I'm important to candy?
I'm importing the candy. I'm sure he's important to candy as well.
Or is candy imported? Yeah.
Never traffic for fun. Only traffic for funds. All I see is the struggle. It's like I'm trapped in the slums.
So I see what you're saying. He does have the wordplay, but it's almost like he's copying and pasting things he's already heard.
It's all copy and paste.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Let me just take all the cliches I've heard from all the other gangster rappers and put them together in the ways they rhyme. I'm pushing it hard. I'm pushing it soft. I'm pushing it Lanani. I'm pushing for Ross. This is as elementary as it gets for me. I'm a tactician with the pen.
Yes.
And when I see this and when I read this, and I'm like, yo, this is hot garbage. Not as hot garbage as. Okay, now here's the problem.
Right.
I can't give zeros. Because there's going to be people worthy of zeros.
Agreed.
And I can't set the bar low that way just because I don't like the person. So I got to look at the track totally objectively. And because the beat is banging, like the beat, I would love to rap to this beat. Because the beat is banging, I got to give the song a 3. If I didn't hear the beat and someone just said, hey, read these lyrics, I handle dope like a vandal off the banana boat. Bananas in our rifles, no ciphers. I'm just the man to know. Okay. I mean,
it's not horrible, but I see what you're saying.
It's not horrible, but what am I going to do with that?
Right.
Like I know this is a fairy tale. What am I going to do with
that? Yeah.
So I give the track a 3.
I give it a 4, and that's solely based on the music, for the most part.
Beat's amazing.
But I will say this: hate him or like him, he does have a flow.
Sure, he can write a beat.
You know what I mean?
Yep, he's got cadence.
Because there's some really good rappers whose flow is kind of not all there sometimes.
Yeah, so
he can definitely flow.
So the fact that he wrote the intro.
I didn't know that.
Says that he's obviously an artistic person. He's obviously a creative person.
He obviously loves hip hop.
Yeah, he loves hip hop. He's a creative person.
Yeah.
You can tell that he enjoys making things.
Right.
But the lyrics to me, just because they're so superficial, it feels like he's just telling a fairy tale, and that's the part. Because I want to connect with you as an artist.
Right.
I want to connect to your spirit. I want to connect to who you are as a person.
Totally.
Like you hear Ghostface kill a rap.
Yeah.
Right. You listen to Ghostface first.
Right.
And you're like, whoever the fuck this person is
true.
incredible.
It's true.
Like, I want to know this person. The references make no sense. Like, there's so many references that Ghostface uses. I don't know what they mean.
I don't know either.
He knows what they mean.
Right.
But because he knows what they mean, I feel like I feel like he's talking to me.
So isn't Ross doing the same where he's saying things that you might not know, but he's trying to bring you into his fantasy world?
Yeah, and that's what I don't feel at all. I don't feel any.
Now, is that because your distaste of him personally, and the fact that he's was a correct? Does that water down your opinion about?
Absolutely.
Like, if you didn't dislike him as much, and he didn't have that past, would you think of it? Would you accept it more? Or is it still for you?
I think it's still bad.
ABC?
So like, I got to like the midpoint. Okay, so I was at the gym, and that's when I started this.
Yeah.
And I got to like the midpoint part of the album, and I'm like, how many more songs is this album have?
Yeah. Yeah,
and then I got to song 11, and I got to song 12. I'm like, wow, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then you get to track 50, and you're like, oh my god, can we stop the album?
You're not wrong at all.
And that's when I realized, I really would not like this at all.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Right.
So
great beat, subpar rapping.
J.R. Rodom's crazy.
Anybody that you would think could really kill that beat at that time, 2006?
Ooh, that Mafia style beat.
Like, would you suggest anybody who would do lyrically?
Oh, you know
'Cause
what,
you're
man?
the lyrics guy.
He's right there.
'Cause you're the lyrics guy.
He's right there.
Amongst
I would
other
say
things.
Nori. I think that's a Nori beat, man. So Nori's on a new track. He's featured on someone's song. Fuck, who is it? It's a Golden Era rapper that just released an album.
Okay.
And Nori's on the track. And I was listening to Nori's lyrics. I'm like, yo,
East Coast?
he still got bars. Yeah, it's East Coast. Like, Nori still got bars.
Nori can rap.
So with
Let's
a
not
beat
get
like
it
that,
twisted.
he would murder that. And I mean, obviously Pusha T comes to mind right
Yeah,
away.
Pusha T.
But Pusha wasn't
Pusha T,
popping
yeah.
at that time. Actually, no.
I mean, the clips.
they weren't popping.
The clips had released Grindin' a couple years earlier, but then after
Right.
that, in 2006 they had the second album with Mr. Me Too.
Right.
But
That's a good song.
but Pusha, the clips as a whole, they were doing a lot of drug rap, but Pusha T solo took it to another level. But you're right, that was years after. That was kind of like the good music entry and
Motherfucking
all that.
scientist.
Yeah, but those are actually, you're right. Nori could, and Nori's got that Miami connection too.
Yep.
Okay, track number 3, titled "Blow." So once again, following the whole drug thing, no really relation to the movie. It's just nickname for coke. Featuring Dre of Cool and Dre.
Oh, it is.
Do you know a lot about Cool and Dre and their production?
Just the production side.
Yeah, they
I know
got a lot of hits.
They make hits.
They got a lot of hits. Shout out
Yes.
to Cool and Dre.
I didn't realize it was that same. Okay.
Yes, the same. Yeah, he does a little singing. So that's what he does in this song. He kind of does a little bit of singing. It's a Cool and, I mean, if you know Cool and Dre's production, you know right away this is a Cool and Dre song. It's got that feel. It's not bad. Lyrically, like I said, I don't have much. It's a solid track musically. He keeps a flow. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Damn. Okay.
And that's more musically than anything else.
Sure.
Once again,
it's like if you get a multi-pack of pudding, right? And
you like the snack packs.
Yes,
the
and
Costco packs.
Yeah, and you get the variety
You
of
get the
flavors.
vanilla. You get the chocolate. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's always the flavor that's in the back that you don't want to get to. Like, fuck, I'll just wait till the very, very
butterscotch.
end.
That's the butterscotch.
Yeah, and you
Or
wait
the
till
cinnamon. The cinnamon.
That's garbage.
Yeah.
So you wait to the very end,
Yeah.
and then one day you're sitting on the couch, you're like, fuck, I want pudding.
Right.
And you go to the fridge, and that's the only one there.
And it's only cinnamon.
So you have to eat it. I feel like this song I listened to because I had to listen to it.
Oh, that's bad.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like anything of it. You don't
like
even
it
like
at
the
all.
production, eh?
Don't like the production.
Okay,
It
fair
didn't
enough.
feel right. Like, none of it feels good.
You were forced to listen to it.
Yeah, so because there's worse songs on it, it's hard to give it a number.
There
I want to open up the lyrics so I can read some of this.
Please do.
And I remember when I first listened to it, I'm like,
That pudding comparison is wild. That's an exclusive. All you guys out there with hip hop podcasts, none of you've ever used the
no
pudding
one's
reference
used the
like
multi-pack.
this one over here.
No. So yeah, and I remember when I was listening, I'm like, yo, these lyrics are really bad.
Right.
There's no way this is that bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, y'all, my laptop is being a bitch right now, which is why it's not opening. But here we are here. So let's look at the lyrics. Okay.
Where do
So
we start?
I don't like the hook.
I don't like the hook.
The hook is I got
didn't like that. I didn't like- Dre didn't even
have.
have to be on this, to be honest with you.
And you know, there's repetitive
Really
hooks.
unnecessary.
Yeah, there's repetitive hooks that are fun.
Yeah.
This is not one of those. Way up in them Cali hills, burning like a sunset. And what an attitude. Take it out of context. Take what out of context? What?
Yeah, it's almost like he's just trying to rhyme to rhyme.
Yeah, riding with that big bang, looking like a bomb threat. Bin Laden beard, Afghan in a bomb vest. So poor taste for me, right?
Yeah,
Poor taste.
yeah.
I don't like how he uses Pac's flow. He directly bites Pac's flow.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I don't like
bit.
that. That feels gross. You can be influenced by artists for sure, but if you can be influenced by artists, give that artist their love. If you're not gonna give the artist their love, don't bite their shit. That shit I don't like.
I agree. I agree. He should have given some type of shout out or something.
Because there's worse tracks on this, I give it a 2.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Like I said, the 3 was solely based on the music. But you're right. It's other than that, I didn't take anything else out of that song.
Yeah, 100%.
Track number 4, "Hustlin'," the
big one.
which is the biggest song of the album. Huge hit. Classic drug rap. 80s, once again 80s. Miami rap. Yeah, good. Produced by the Runners, DJ Nasty and LVM, but the Runners in general. So the Runners have have a very distinctive sound. They're a duo from Miami, and they've done a lot of production for Ross. A lot of these Khaled albums, the hit songs that you think DJ Khaled produced, especially in the early on, it was actually the Runners.
Oh shit! Okay.
And they're actually, I really like their music quite a bit. They've done some work with Akon. They got a pretty cool discography. Anyways, great beat. Total down south with the bass, the bass and the organs. I mean, it still holds its own right now. For me, even the rap is not bad. I give it a 5 out of 5. It's just one of those songs that's a classic
big
song
one
for me.
So the thing for me is, only reason I started to like the song at all was because of Cat Williams.
Right. Do you want to give a little backstory on that?
Yeah, for sure. So Cat's got the special. It's the one where he's got that emerald jacket on when he comes out.
And he's wearing the diplomat chain.
He's wearing the massive diplomat chain. Yeah. And he comes out and he's talking about how that song makes you feel like a drug dealer. It doesn't matter what you do.
Facts.
Like, you could work at McDonald's and they play a song and he goes to the DJ, he's like, play that shit!
Yeah,
and the DJ plays it and he starts doing the fries thing.
Such a funny skit.
Oh my
Such a funny
God, dude.
Skit. One of the best intros to a stand-up special.
Severely underrated comedy from Cat 100%. Williams.
Probably one of his best specials.
I think that might have been one of his best specials.
Yep.
And he made that song feel so good. I felt like, because there's one part where he's like, you in the grocery store and you're buying stuff and you're pushing your cart and it makes you feel like you have money.
Right.
And you start putting everything in.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that's what really made me like the song.
It added that extra layer, right?
Yeah, it made it feel really good. So when I went back and listened to the song, I tried to do it impartially because, again, people obviously like it. So I wanted to see why people like it. And the opening line for me is great. Who the fuck you think you're talking
and that's,
to? I'm the fucking boss.
That line gets me all the time.
Yeah, and that to me is a great way to kick off a track.
Agreed.
I feel like regardless of, when you start to get into it, then it becomes very cliche. The rest of it is very cliche. Like 745, white on white, that's fucking Ross. I cut him wide, I cut him long, I cut him fat, what? I keep it coming back, what we keep coming back. I don't know where it goes after that. But again, people aren't listening at that point. They're just wilding out.
Oh, at that point,
got him.
Because this is a song you play in the club. This is a song you play in the car.
Banger.
Right? Like, if you're working out.
They play it at NBA games, right? It's got that anthem feel.
It does.
This is probably the best song on the album for me.
I would have to agree.
I would give it a 4.
And like you said, cliche. He goes, I'm taking drugs on the Atlantic.
Yep.
On Atlantic. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
we never steal cars,
right?
but we deal hard. Whip it real hard. Whip it real hard.
Yeah.
I caught it charge. Whip it real hard. Whip it real hard.
Yeah.
That's 4 bars of a verse.
Yeah.
So obviously,
but the production is top notch.
But overall, the track hits.
4 out of 5. That's impressive. Okay, track number 5, titled "Cross That Line," featuring a young Akon. So this is when Akon kind of hit the scene, and you would hear him with Styles P.
Yeah.
So he was dabbling into hip hop. He was the hip hop. He had a song with Jeezy. I forget what it was called, but
he was doing his thing.
He had that. Yeah, he was the man there. So he's on this track. He's a co-producer of the song. I like the beat. It's a real classic Akon beat. If you know Akon's music, especially the early hip hop days, you know this is a hip hop, kind of a little bit of a dark beat. I like the beat a lot. Akon's good on it. For that reason, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. But that's solely, once again, the music. I really like some of the music on this album. And I'm a music guy, so... Dude,
I'm a huge Akon fan. I like a lot of what he does.
I am too.
I really like how he's in his hometown, Senegal, I think.
Yeah, he's creating
building infrastructure
and this and that, and really investing his money.
So I fuck with Akon heavy.
Yeah. And listen, he's had some of the biggest bangers in the last decade or two.
Smack that on.
Right? I mean, he really has.
He could work with everybody.
He can.
I fucking hate this song.
Yeah, hey.
Okay, I was birthed in a crack house, but what made it worse, every first is a packed house. Little brother knowing life illegal, no toys, just playing with pipes and needles. It's honestly, it's bars.
It's drug rap.
It's
That's
bars.
what he's trying to tell you.
The problem is, you weren't birthed in a crack house.
Yeah.
You were birthed to 2 parents.
I get it.
2-parent household, and both your parents made money. You weren't born in a crack house.
But I think we've talked about this before. He's not the first guy to do this.
100%.
I mean, there's probably a lot of rappers that we've listened to that probably didn't do some of the things that they say they did.
Absolutely. Like, I don't think Raekwon was walking around with a razor under his tongue. I don't think that happened either. Maybe it did happen. Raekwon is kind of wild.
Raekwon is Chef. I mean,
The Chef might have
Chef
been-
is kind of
he might
wild,
have
but
been
you're right.
cooked
I
up.
mean, yeah, there's
He
a
did
lot of
say
things
some wild
that are
shit.
far fetched.
Sure.
But I think because of
You're a CO.
yeah,
You're a CO, bro.
I get it.
At the
I
end
get
of the
it.
day, you're a CO.
I get it. Yep.
Birth in a crack house.
How do you
Fuck
like the
outta
beat?
here.
You don't like the beat?
The beat's alright.
Yeah.
Akon doesn't even sound good on the song.
Yeah. You don't think
What
you
the
don't like
hell?
him on it? Yeah.
I was so looking forward to like, oh, cool, some cool collabs on this album.
Not a fan.
Two.
Okay. Fair enough. Track number 6 titled "I'm Bad." I love this song for the beat. The beat. So the sample, it's a huge sample, and it's sampled from a TV show from the 70s called SWAT. Not to be confused with the new
shit.
TV series called SWAT with
crazy.
what's his name? Shamar Moore?
Yeah.
And the movie with
Shout out
Colin
Shamar
Farrell.
Moore,
Remember
man.
Colin Farrell?
Oh,
SWAT?
motherfucker. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good movie.
So
What a
SWAT.
career off of being pretty
No kidding. Eh?
and having abs.
and you know what? The guy doesn't age.
He still looks like he's 25.
Him and
Still
like guys
ripped.
like Morris Chestnut, Lorenz Tate, these guys still look.
The melanin magic,
I don't know
yo.
what they're doing, man. But
I'm
yes,
304 years old.
and look at him, not a wrinkle on
On
his
weekends.
face. I feel like 340 was on a daily basis. So there was this TV show in the 70s called SWAT. I didn't know much about it, but they used the theme song and they flipped it and did a sample. And I'm a big sample guy when it's done right. I really like old school samples, which I find. I don't know the producer. I've never heard of him, K Luck, but he did a great song. And just on the beat alone, nothing else, I give it a 4 out of 5 because I love the music.
Yeah. I mean, the song, this is probably the only song that's factual. He says, I'm bad. Yeah, you bad.
And not in the
Bad.
good way, like like a Michael
Not,
Jackson.
yeah,
I'm
not
bad.
Michael Jackson bad.
No, he's like
just bad.
bad.
He's just bad.
Do you like the music at all?
The beat's great.
Okay.
That's one thing that made me really upset as I was going through the album.
Right.
Because I'm listening to the tracks, I'm like, yo, that beat's amazing. Oh, that beat's amazing. Yo, T.I.
Yeah.
would kill that
Yeah.
beat. There's so many beats that I heard, I'm like, wow.
I was thinking the same
Musically,
way.
the album has a lot to offer musically because
Right.
the beats, he kind of like,
Give him credit for beat selection.
sure,
He knows how to pick a beat.
absolutely.
And I wish there were some greater rappers out there who did that. Because there's a lot of better rappers whose beat selection is not good.
Personally, I think
Nas is one of them.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say. Personally, that's one of the reasons why I don't have that affinity for
Yeah,
Nas.
yeah.
Because the beat selection was ass.
It's not great.
But yeah, this song, you know, let me tell the shit I start, automatic start on that big white car, pearl paint job, and you can't rob. 4 chains and a watch, pocket full of knots. Dude, like the bars are so
Pocket full.
bad.
Yeah.
And you know the thing is, I think I'm a little spoiled because we've got to review some really dope albums.
Yes.
And when you go back and listen to some of those bars, you're like, oh man, like we were talking about Pac's album, Machiavelli, last episode.
What a contrast.
Right? And again, we are, and I'm not being discriminatory because I don't like Dude. Like, I love the Outlaws. I don't like their rap.
I'm me too.
But I fuck with the Outlaws.
Yeah,
I
I
think
do
they're
too.
amazing.
Yeah.
As far as Pac's crew.
Yeah.
But they can't rap, and I'm not gonna lie and say they can't just because their proximity to Pac.
Agreed.
So when I read these lyrics, I'm like, God, this shit's fucking bad, yo.
Yep.
It's another 2.
Another 2. And I think you would have, a lot of these songs where you're giving a 2, you probably might have given a jump ball if it wasn't for the music, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Airballs all day.
And that just shows how important music is too to this whole collective. Okay, track number 7 titled "Boss." Now, don't get it confused with another song that he released on his next album called "The Boss."
Oh.
which with T-Pain, which was a huge hit. You remember that?
Oh, no.
Remember T-Pain sings the hook.
I like almost everything.
Honestly,
T-Pain
if you
does.
heard 30 seconds of it, we'll play it after the podcast. You'll be like, "Oh, I know that song."
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The beat is amazing, and that's actually produced by J.R. Rodham too. Anyways, Kyle the Boss is once again featuring Dre from Cool and Dre. Heavy Pro Tools beat, like very Pro Tooly. It's a very T.I. beat.
Yes.
I thought of T.I. when I heard this beat. I'm like, T.I. would have done a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Other than the beat being okay, I didn't like anything else of the song. I gave it 2.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the thing is, like, I hear the beats, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be cool. But even Dre's not good on this.
No. Sorry, noted. Yeah, he didn't do anything. I don't even know why he's featured on any. Producers should just produce. Don't try to be Kanye, because you're not.
Yeah, not everyone can do the Swiss beats.
No, the Timbaland.
You know-
you got to be a certain type, man.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
beat's great. It's still a 2.
2. Okay, that's not far off. Track number 8, For the Low.
Fuck.
It's produced by Jazzy Faye.
Jazzy
you know
Faye,
Jazzy
man.
Faye?
Of course.
Jazzy Fizzle.
Jazzy Fizzle Shizzle.
One of that's right. That's
Come
how he
on.
talks. And Jazzy Faye. If you don't know who Jazzy Faye is from his production, if you guys have seen the '06 movie ATL with T.I. and Lauren London,
Yeah.
classic movie,
Great movie.
I heard they're making a sequel. He plays the DJ in the roller rink.
Oh, shit.
And Jazzy Faye always has his hat
What a
little bit
reference.
on a tilt, and he has glasses, and he's a bigger man, so you can't miss
Big
it.
boy.
Anyways, huge producer from Atlanta, especially in the mid 2000s.
Nothing but hits.
Nothing but hits. It's very Jazzy Faye, the beat, if you know his production, it's good. It's a very ATL inspired. Once again, T.I. could have jumped on this no problem.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's his moniker. Jazzy Faye's. 3 out of 5 because of the beat.
It didn't even hit for me.
Oh, you didn't like it at
I
all?
love Jazzy Faye. Almost everything he does.
That's a little surprising. I thought you would have liked the beat.
And it just didn't hit. It was so bad.
I mean, it wasn't one of his best beats. I'll give you that.
I feel like it was a beat that he had just sitting. I don't know. It's.
Oh yeah, totally.
It didn't feel nothing. None of it felt new. And I mean, it just doesn't age well at all. Like if you listen to T.I.'s stuff from this era, I could still listen to What You Know About That.
That's true.
You know, like it just feels so dated. The lyrics are so dated. Candy all in the paint, rims deep in the dirt. Got a car full of work and pockets full of herb. Chopper on the front seat. Suck it if you want beef. I'm in Dade County. I'm the mayor. Like it's all so cliche.
Right.
None of it feels new. None of it feels fresh. And you gotta understand, I'm going into this album the first time hearing all these songs.
Yeah, me too.
So
for the
there's
most
no
part.
prejudice to the feeling of wow.
No, you're giving a
Shit.
first reaction to it.
Yeah, yo, and it's so disappointing. The collabs on here, man, like Jazzy Faye, and it's just a miss for me. Can't even give it a 2. It's a 1.
It's a 1. Okay, I get it. I guess I mean the audience. You can see where we're going with this album here.
Frustrating.
Track number 9, "Where My Money At?" Quote unquote, I need that. Once again, produced by the Runners, who I'm a fan of.
This was a single, right?
Not an official single, but it was kind of released
got
out
poppin',
there.
the
Yeah. I really like it because I like the beat. I really like the Runners' sound. I've always liked their sound.
Yep.
So for me, and the flow was okay. A typical down south heavy bass kind of beat, but I like it. And I remember it back then because I used to play it. So because of the music I like so much, I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Still beat. The beat's really, really good. I don't know if this is a song where he's talking about boxing. He talks about hitting somebody or boxing or something, and it's crazy. I don't know if you saw, but there's this video of Rick Ross learning how to box.
Oh God!
I haven't. But I don't know who he's paying to train him. But it was some of the worst punches. Do you ever see Stephen A. Smith's video where he's learning how to box?
No, but I've seen.
And he's throwing uppercuts like a weirdo.
Have you ever seen Meek Mill? Yeah, that's the only one I've seen.
Why are you guys recording this stuff?
Yeah,
don't record it.
Tyson, you are not.
Dude, train, get good, then show the video. Why you?
But why do you even have to? Like, you guys are rappers.
Like, I mean, Wiz Khalifa?
Tyson, rappers are not. I mean, boxers are not out there trying to rap for the most part.
But dude, Wiz Khalifa's a bad dude. I don't know if you know, but Wiz Khalifa.
Told me that he does.
He trains MMA. He's a really high level Muay Thai striker.
And he's like a lanky kind of a guy.
But dude, I don't know if you know, he used to be like a stick figure.
Yeah,
the guy's all swollen and shit.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, dude, he could fuck somebody up.
So he's legitimate.
He's legit.
Yeah.
Like, you're not fighting anybody, man. I've seen you throw an uppercut. You throw it from your kneecaps. What the hell?
Oh, that's
so like don't fight, bro. Good. Don't fight. Don't do that shit. Beat is amazing. Only reason why it gets a 3.
I'm glad that you're that see, and that's Alite being non-biased because he's still in it for the music at times too.
The music is important.
Yeah, so that's great. Okay, track 10. We're halfway there. Titled "Getaway" featuring Mario Winans, who was an R&B singer on Bad Boy Records. And he did well there. He was on some really big hits.
Mario Winans amazing.
He even his solo album he had some hit. He was a
Incredible
certified
songwriter.
R&B, and he's actually a producer too.
Yeah.
He co-produced a lot of. He was part of the Hitmen at Bad Boy.
He penned all of that era's R&B.
Yeah,
Everybody
right.
used Mario's pen.
That's true. So yeah, but you know what? I didn't feel Mario on this album. This song, I should say. His singing was not great. It was kind of, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't the Mario Winans that I remember from the earlier heydays at the Bad Boy. It just like he didn't even give a shit.
Dude,
like it's almost like he just got a song, a check, and he was like, just sing. So
nailed it.
I mean, you could have put anybody there. It didn't even fucking matter. It's supposed to be, in my opinion, like a club-ish song. It's not that. The beat is weak. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5, and that's being really, really generous. Like, I could have gone lower. I probably should have, but my number is my number.
Dude, this one hurt, man. This one hurt strictly because
and you like Mario Winans.
Dude, he's one of my favorite songwriters.
Yeah.
That I Don't Want to Know is such a great song.
Classic.
My goodness.
Which
and
uses the Fuji beat on that, right?
Yeah.
The Radio Not beat.
So good. And even the I Need a Girl, he penned all that stuff. God. Right? This is the certified.
That's the airball. And if you don't know what the airball is by now, if you haven't been watching previously, airball means 0 CDs out of 5.
You missed everything. You missed everything.
You know, now that I think about it, I probably should have done that too. We could have done like a double airball. But I see that's one thing. Once it's stamped, we can't go back.
No, we can't renege on it.
You can't. No. Nothing out of the song you like. Just absolutely.
And it hurts my heart because Mario's so good.
Right.
But this is a complete throwaway.
And you know what probably hurts you more is he was a co-producer of the song. I just realized that. So that doesn't help. Track number 11, Hit You From the Back, featuring Rodney. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. But once again, he didn't need to be on here. Beat is horrible. It's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like a sexy time type of song. It didn't go that way at all.
No.
The rapping's horrible. I gave it a 1 and a 5 just for the simple fact that this one was also produced by the Runners, but they kind of dropped the ball on this one. It wasn't really good. Mind you, they don't do slow songs and R&B songs, so I think they're almost forced to do something like that. Yeah. I give it a 1 out of 5.
Ooh,
this could have been an airball.
We've never done a double airball before.
We are now.
I think there's one more song that might be deserving. Oh, this is so tough.
Hey, listen, if it's an airball, it's an airball. I get it.
So this is
feelings need to be hurt.
Hit you from the back. Okay, so you got to give somebody something for the attempt.
Well,
to
then
try to create a love song.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, you said love song. Right, okay, fair enough.
You had Mario Winans on the last one.
Yeah.
I think, so this is the point of the album where I was like, oh my god, when is this album going to end?
So why do you say that as a lyricist and a rapper yourself? Is it because it's hard to do a love song as a rapper?
I think a lot of rappers don't like to be vulnerable.
Oh, facts.
And they don't want to lower their front. They want to be the player. They want to be the thing. Facts. But I think you can do that and also be vulnerable. I think you could be really fly and still write feelings.
I think LL Cool J did it probably the best, right?
Masterful.
Yeah.
I think a lot of rappers do, like Most Def does it really well. Pac does it really well.
Method Man had one.
Yeah, and like, even Meth, even though he's rapping real hard, he's coming from the heart.
Breakups to Makeup and the one with Mary J, right?
Yeah, I think Jay-Z does an amazing job of writing his emotions.
So it can be done.
Absolutely can be done.
But it's not easy, is what you're saying.
It's really difficult, especially when you're trying to create a persona that you want people to fuck with.
Right.
This is very close to an airball. The beat does enough for me to give it a 1.
Okay. Fair. That's fair.
That's tough.
12. Track 12 called White House. So that could be a double entendre to a house that's got coke inside as opposed to the president's house.
We know he's such a drug dealer.
Right. This song is produced by DJ Toomp. Do you know DJ Toomp?
Yes.
So DJ Toomp was
Big
basically an ATL producer down south, early 2000s, but his claim to fame was T.I.'s first 2 to 3 albums. Yes. He was heavily involved. And if you remember those beats, they were some of the best beats that hold up till now, you were saying.
Bangers.
T.I.
Some of my favorite stuff.
He produced, Toomp produced on Jay-Z's album, and he also produced on the Watch Your Throne album. So he's done a lot of outside work too. Anyway, you know what song he produced? That was Can't Tell Me Nothing. From
Wow.
Graduation. Remember that? That
Yeah,
was
it's
one
a
of my
great song.
favorite beats of all time.
Great song.
He produced that whole thing.
And he's synonymous for big bass.
That's
Because you
his thing.
can't tell me nothing. That bass is massive. On
Kanye had actually said something about 808s and Heartbreaks where he actually he brought Toomp in to get his ear on the bass to get
That
it
makes
right.
so much
He didn't get a
sense.
credit for it because he didn't
Yeah,
want it,
yeah.
but he was heavily
That
involved in
makes so
getting
much
the
sense.
bass right.
You could feel that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Especially on 808s and Heartbreaks, when you listen to a song like Amazing with Young Jeezy, that's so Toomp inspired, right? The way the bass hits.
Ooh, big time.
Yeah. So White House, I love the beat. The flow was but the beat was really good. Not his best beat, but not bad.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 out of 5 solely on the music.
Yeah, this is a mid beat for Toomp. Yeah, it's weird how it didn't feel very much like a Toomp beat.
I agree.
The hook is just garbage, like absolute garbage. I'm in the White House. I call the shots. I could get your ass wiped out. We in the White House. Big phantom on the lawn getting wiped out. It's so fucking bad. Now,
It's like you said, it's very ABC.
just to reference, just to give you guys a parallel to show I'm not just fucking hating. Biggie is probably the best example of this. Biggie did not grow up broke.
Right.
He grew up in a household where his mom made enough money for them to be middle class.
Right.
He went to a private school.
Correct.
All of these things. But when Biggie rapped gangsta shit, I felt like he was not lying.
He was outside on the street.
Dude, the storytelling was phenomenal.
Right.
What Biggie did with raps like this, very similar, Big Boss, I'm the shit, can't fuck with me, Kingpin raps. I felt Biggie every bar. Every bar
I
felt
totally
real.
agree. And even in Pac, right? Like when he was talking about that gangster, especially the thug stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who went to art school. I mean, he had a childhood tougher than Biggie, but I mean, he had that whole other side to him too, right?
Yeah, for sure,
Right?
for sure.
But-
Like,
but
it wasn't
when he
all
talked
guns and
about-
drugs.
You know, coming down on guys and gangster this and
Felt
that.
so
and
real.
I mean,
10
hit him
Crack
up.
Commandments
Hit him up.
Felt like Biggie lived
It did.
that the whole way through.
Right. Who shot you? I mean,
Monstrous.
yeah. And Ross just doesn't do that.
Didn't
he
hit
can't
at all.
do that.
So
unfortunately.
that just off the beat, I got to give it a 2.
Okay, that's good.
Shout out Toomp. Fuck, make
Shout
me a
outs
beat, Toomp.
to man. Shout outs to track 13, titled "Pots and Pans," featuring J Rock. Now, I don't know if this is J Rock or because it says J and Rock.
Oh,
So
not
it's
J-A-Y.
not J-A-Y Rock. So I don't think it's J Rock from TDE because 2006, I don't even think he was on the scene. TDE didn't even
Yeah,
exist.
you're right.
Right?
You're
I don't
right.
think anybody existed from that camp.
Yeah. Though, which J-Rock is this then?
Exactly. And I think I think some people might get confused on the J Rock. I'm looking at the spelling, and there's no way they would have gotten that wrong.
No, hell no.
Wikipedia would have put the right information.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody, they put a link to your name, and his name wasn't linked, so I don't think it's J Rock. Anyways, I didn't like the song. It's so average, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But it's very average. I give it a 2.
So whoever this J-Rock is produced it as well, right?
Right? Yeah. Good point. Yes.
It's interesting. Yeah, they don't have a link to see who he is.
And J Rock doesn't produce,
no.
so I don't think it's even the same guy.
But yeah, shout out to J-Rock, yo. One of my favorite
real
West
J-Rock.
Coast gangster rappers
Dope.
off TDE. Amazing.
I actually like him more than Kendrick.
Oh, damn.
And that's not a dig against Kendrick because I'm a Drake.
Wow.
No, I've always liked J. I mean,
we need some new J-Rock
win.
music.
I mean, come
Come on, J-Rock, drop an album. I know you got some of the issues going on with TDE, but we need some more music. The song, Dookie, it's a 1.
It's a 1. Yep. 14, track 14 called "It's My Time" with, is it pronounced Life or Leaf? Life Jennings.
Yeah.
Pretty predominant. He had a pretty good
Life is
R&B
dope,
career,
man.
right? I remember a couple
He's
songs. I don't
actually
know that much about him.
He's actually still got a career.
Yeah.
He still tours.
Yeah.
He's still significant in that neo-soul
Okay.
place.
He was kind of like the D'Angelo.
Yeah.
byproduct, Right.
Like, he was kind of a combination of D'Angelo and Bilal.
Oh,
He
okay.
kind of sits in the middle there.
Yeah, and he came out in the late 2000s.
Yes.
Right? Or mid to late 2000s.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of?
I like Life.
Yeah?
Yeah, Life gets
Yeah.
love. He makes some good music.
Okay, so
but he's bad on this.
he is not good. I think he's weak. He's not the worst, but his
Yeah,
singing is
which is
weak.
so weird.
It's very weak. The beat is very average.
Because
It's produced by the Runners again, and I think there's a common denominator where the Runners and R&B don't go well because it's another R&B attempt and it doesn't work. And it's like Dre with R&B. It's not that good.
doesn't always
Yeah,
work.
and don't tell me that the song with Major Blige is R&B. That's a party song.
party
That's
track.
not an R&B
That's a
song.
party
So for me, I give it a 2 and a 5, and that's really being generous again.
Yeah, fuck. This is not good. This just not good.
Life didn't add anything to it.
Yeah, Life. You know, it's interesting. This Life music is very meaty.
Right.
You would know better. Struggle. Talks about some real conscious stuff.
Right.
There's none of that on this. It's a one.
It's a one.
It's a one. It feels weird giving so many ones and twos.
Hey, it is what it is. Track 15, titled "Street Life," featuring Lloyd. Some of you know Lloyd. He was kind of a. He came out in the same time where a lot of younger guys like Mario, B2K, early Trey songs, early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Kind of a not just an R&B singer, but kind of a heartthrobby kind of right?
Sure.
Like, the girls really,
pop star appeal.
Right.
Yep.
So Lloyd, he's definitely established. He has some bangers. Mm-hmm. The song is sampled from a group called Rush. They're a Canadian rock alternative band from the 80s. I don't know if you remember Rush.
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
So it's got an 80s vibe. The beat is not bad. I like the beat. It's a good sample. Lloyd is okay. He's not horrible. Out of all the R&B features, I think this one might be the best because he's actually singing like Lloyd.
Yes.
Where you can still feel Lloyd. Yeah. Where these other sample, you're like, oh, that's not Mario or that's not Life.
Definitely not.
So I give it a 3 out of 5. Produced by Unknown. So not somebody I know. We know.
Lloyd's got one of those voices where he's borderline. You're almost gonna hate him.
Oh,
because
wow.
He's whiny.
And you can say that because you know R&B and you sing.
Yeah, and he's got that whiny tone. And nasally, but he's right at that border of being offensive and not listenable. But I fuck with Lloyd. He's got bangers.
But some people say that about Trey Songz too.
He's close. But Trey Songz he's got a bigger voice. Trey Songz is like a R. Kelly copy.
Oh.
He copies a lot of R. Kelly's ad-libs.
I can see that. Yeah. So who would you compare Lloyd to in today's time?
Lloyd
for some of the younger fans.
I don't really think there's a comparison that's that whiny. Right now in the R&B game. There's actually some really good R&B right now.
There is some really good R&B.
But Lloyd is good. He's got a lot of bangers.
He's got some hits.
Little Wayne tracks over
the years. He's got some hits for sure, yeah.
This off of the strength of Lloyd alone gets a 2.
Okay. Okay.
We're not even getting to I don't even want to look up the lyrics because I know they're awful.
It's not even worth it.
I know they're awful.
Track 16, which is Hustlin', which was track number 4, but this is Hustlin' the remix. And we were talking about this earlier. So the song was so big that they have to make a remix because that's what we did. Anytime there was a huge song in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Remix!
Even now, but not so much now, but because the songs are not... I just feel, and you might agree with this, hip-hop songs are not that big anymore.
Right, you know what I mean? There's too many.
It's
like
tough.
It had to be a certain song. Like if Not Like Us got a remix, it would make sense.
Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. There's guys like Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, they still make huge songs.
Yeah.
But that's becoming more of a rarity now.
100%. And during this era, mid songs would get a remix and become hit songs.
That's actually very true.
Right? So
that's
like some of the B-side tracks that were never meant to be hits
so true.
would get a taste of the remix and then the song would fucking
or even like one-hit wonders.
For sure.
All My Gold Chain, All My Gold...
Yeah.
It was average and then you throw a bunch of...
Getting Tipsy had like 8 versions of Tipsy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Yeah. But Cashing Out. All of a sudden you put Rihanna and Akon on it and it's huge. And then you never hear from the guy again.
For sure. And I think Lloyd's got a career off of being on some of those tracks.
Oh, Lloyd's a feature hoe. I mean, he hasn't made himself a star from just his albums alone. Music. But he's been on a lot of substantial songs.
And I'm going to the dark side here. He has a song on the new Diddy album that came out last year.
Oh, yeah.
Which
was critically acclaimed. The album's actually really good.
The album is good.
I thought
Jasmine
it was...
Sullivan's amazing.
I thought the way he did the production and the choice of artists...
100%.
It was a solid
Jasmine
album,
Sullivan's song on that album. Ooh! Her sounds amazing on it.
There's a couple others that I can't think of, but
good songs
it was a solid album, man.
But I had to fucking retire it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I know.
What song are we on right now?
Okay, so we're Hustling remix featuring Jay-Z and Young Jeezy. So Jay-Z is obvious because Jay-Z, like we said, Alite said before, he loves music and he loves hip hop. We know that, but he's an opportunist. And if he finds a song that's huge, he will jump on it. And that's what he's done. And it makes it easy because he's the label boss.
Dude, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. The remix.
Perfect.
Up in the Clouds. Me and My Spouse.
Was Umbrella the remix too?
He did the remix.
Or was he on the original?
Nope.
No, there was a remix, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. Ha, Juvenile. I mean, the list goes on.
But dude, the stuff that he did. I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I think Kendrick's one of the greats of this generation.
You're not wrong.
But Jay-Z murdered him on his own song, and that's what Jay-Z does. He comes on your own song and he murders you.
It's true.
And dude, that verse, just the beginning, up in the clouds, me and my spouse, room was on the ground, getting too loud, can turn that shit down. He's talking about being on a plane to get away from the rumors happening. Genius level rhymes.
Right.
And he did it on this too, on Hustlin. He murders the song.
I think that the one and only time where he got defeated was Eminem on Renegade.
And I don't know how big of I think people overestimate the defeat thing. People gotta understand.
So you don't agree with that?
I mean, I wouldn't say like he embarrassed Jay on the
No,
track.
but do you think M was the winner?
I think.
I mean, you're either a winner or you're not.
I think it's a little unfair because M also produced the track, and because M produced the track, M knows how to ride the beat better than anybody knows how to ride the beat.
Valid point.
I think if the third party produced the track and they both come at it as artists, it's a different song altogether.
You're blind going in.
Yeah, but because M had the cadence locked in the way that he had it.
The Cole's notes.
It didn't really matter what he said.
That's a very valid point. I totally forgot that.
Jay comes in from a completely different perspective.
Right.
But Jay's verse on
Renegade is amazing. It's dope. It's dope. But that's been the whole kind of scar on his features where they said that was the one where he didn't win.
How did he start his verse again? He goes into this insane cadence.
Yes.
That he's never. I mean, that's what Jay does. He uses cadences he never uses.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's
song,
interesting. That's interesting.
But I'm excited to see that again because I don't think Jay got washed the way people say he got washed.
That's a fair point. Because I didn't think about the production part of it. Because Eminem produced that track.
It's a great beat too.
Anyways, Jay-Z hot at that time. He had released.
Has he ever not been hot?
That's true.
After Pac passed?
That's so true. I think if I'm correct, he would have that year he had released the album. It wasn't American Gangster because that was 2007. It was the one before that with the
Black
hologram. Well, no, it was the hologram front cover.
Oh, was it the Magna? Not the Magna Carta.
No. This is 2006. It had.
Show me what you got.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, so
Kingdom Come.
Thank you. So Jay-Z was hot, still hot. And Young Jeezy was just bubbling and also signed to Def Jam at the time, so it makes sense to have both of them. Plus, Jay-Z, he did that drug rap beautifully. He just did it very differently. And Young Jeezy is all about. I mean, the Snowman. That's his nickname. That was his nickname. I like it. I mean, listen, it's the same beat, it's the same song. You just have two giants on it, which elevates the song. Yeah. I think they both did a solid job. I give it another 5 out of 5 because it's sometimes the remixes don't go well. Sometimes you almost like the original better. Features can be a little too much. Yeah. In this case, I think it was good. It didn't take away anything from the song. It added a little bit of lyrical content, but it was a good flow.
I'm not a huge Jeezy fan either.
Right.
I feel like the Snowman stuff, it's all the same shit. It's all the same cliche stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think he does anything original enough in drug rap to make people like, oh, he could rival Push. You just can't.
I think the one thing he does have is street cred.
I've heard that.
And that takes him a long way.
And I think that might be the difference, which makes it feel more real. And he's got a really cool voice.
He does.
Jeezy's got a raspy, one of the better
kind
sounding voices.
Yeah.
Jay murders the track. I love the way Jay cuts.
Yeah.
With his bars on the beat.
Yeah.
I give the original a 4. It's really hard for me to give a 5 because I don't like Ross's verse at all.
Yeah.
So I'll add a 0.5 to it. It's a 4.5.
That's good. Track 17. It ain't a problem. Produced by a guy named Jay Venom. So anytime you have a producer who's named Jay Venom, the song's probably not going to be great. I think that's just Hip Hop 101.
Yeah.
It's featuring the group called Triple C's, which was Rick Ross's. This was the introduction to his group. Once again, the Carroll Cartel County. So Carroll County Cartel. So Carroll County is where Ross is originally from, and he's got a cartel, and there's a couple rappers on there. I believe it's
kind of his Junior Mafia.
Kind of, yeah. There's a guy named Gunplay. You remember Gunplay?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And Torch. Anyways, so they're on it. The beat's shit. The rapping's even worse. I gave it a 1 out of 5, but now that I think about it, I probably should have given it. I'm very hesitant to give jump balls, and I don't know why. I should really start checking myself on that because this deserves that, but I gave it a 1 out of 5.
This was the follow-up Airball.
Okay, see, there you go. Jump ball. Sorry, no, Airball, I meant.
Airball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I should have changed mine.
I just don't understand.
Yeah,
Why you make this song?
yeah, I'm with you, man. I am with you.
I think there should be like a unspoken rule for cap on how many songs you put on an album, because 19 is too much, man.
It's true. I mean, that's what we were used to back in the days,
right?
But it didn't feel like that. I don't know, for some reason now,
because there was way more originality, because there was way less music. That's probably what it was.
Yeah,
because there's so much more music, it's so hard to be original.
It's true.
And if you're doing drug rap and someone that's, parallel to you is doing it way better, like, to me, T.I. murders this. Any T.I. album you put up against this, T.I. murders it.
It's true.
Even T.I.'s worst albums are, miles ahead.
I agree.
So when you don't do it anywhere close to the top level, why are you making all these fucking songs? True. Cap it at 13 and move on.
I agree. And when we come to the final review of the album, if he shaved some fat from this album, I would probably give it a bit of a higher score. I really would have, because there's a lot of fillers. I don't even think he thinks they're fillers, but they're fillers. They're bad.
Yeah,
and this is one of them. Second last track, titled track number 18, titled "I'm a G." Now we got we think we have a bright point, because it's got Lil Wayne in it, and it's produced by DJ Khaled, for all you Khaled fans out there. How much did he actually produce of it is questionable. I've never heard the song before in my life. Heard it for the first time. I was waiting. I almost basically just skipped to Wayne's part. Wayne is also on the chorus. He's okay on the chorus. His rap was pretty good. And the beat is not bad. Just because of the beat being okay and Wayne's feature, I gave it a 3. But if without Wayne and with the same beat, I probably would have given it almost a 1 or 1.5. Wayne didn't bring anything to the song. Wayne wasn't overly great on it.
Nah.
He probably saved it in some regards, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I was so excited thinking there was going to be a Wayne feature, because at least I'd get some unconventional bars.
Right.
But first, fuck DJ Khaled, free Palestine all day. I don't know why Wayne got on this album. I don't know how that works. It doesn't make sense. It's so rare for Wayne to be on a song, and it doesn't move the needle. It's so rare.
It is rare.
And I mean, this is right now, we're just bringing up Wayne, but he just dropped his Carter
6, which we'll talk about. Yeah.
Again, another really 19 tracks as well, super bloated project. But that'll be it for another day. Wayne didn't move the needle for me. I've never been a fan of Khaled. This is a 2.
Wow.
Just because Wayne's on it.
And you're just being generous because of Wayne. Yep. And it's funny because this is the first of many collaborations between Wayne and Ross.
Yeah.
Anyways, track 19, last track, thank God. Put us out of our misery. Titled Prayer. Supposed to be like an outro, kind of a perspective song. I don't know, that's what I got a feel out of it. But this was my airball. I liked nothing of it. And it was produced by J-Rock. So...
J-Rock again.
Yeah, J-Rock again. The fake J-Rock. So I didn't like anything of this song, and it was horrible. And like I said, filler, get rid of it.
Yeah, complete filler. Again, I don't know why they make these songs. I got to this point of the album, and I saw the last track. I'm like, thank fucking God. This is the first album I've ever reviewed with more than one airball. And to be fair, there could have been way more airballs. But this is airball number 3.
Never been done before.
Holy
Never
shit.
been done before. First time.
And we got parallel airballs on this one.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah, facts.
Unreal.
You got a hat trick of airballs.
Yeah, unreal. I mean, there might be other albums that have more than this, but this for us, unprecedented territory.
Right. So saying that, Port of Miami, Rick Ross's debut album. We have a rating system. If you don't know, we rate them out of CDs because that's what we grew up on, and we rate them out of 5 being the highest, 0 being the lowest. We have yet to do a 0. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but you never know. You got to watch and stay tuned.
It would have to be terrible, yeah.
So my final number for the whole album, and like I said before, if he had shaven off some of the fat, I probably would have given it maybe a 0.5 higher, but I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. And that might... Actually, I know for a fact that's generous because now that I'm, after reviewing it with Elite, I some of them I should have rated lower or potentially even airball. So, but 2.5 is my number.
Yeah, he can't shave the fat even now. Dude's just always overweight.
Yeah, literally and figuratively.
Maybe you should
can't
sell
shave
the
fat.
Wingstop.
Yeah.
Sell the wing. Stop
And,
eating wings.
and that's funny you say that because he had a really crazy seizure on a plane and he almost died. He had stroked out.
Oh,
this was about
shit.
10 years ago because he was doing all that lean.
Oh,
Because him and Wayne
right.
both had the same thing.
Right.
Anyways.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
scary. Oof. Make sure you hit the subscribe.
Please.
Make sure you hit the follows. We are _high_phrase on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you can find social media, TikTok as well. The High Phrase banner is a High Phrase banner for all the podcasts and live shows that we do. The very first podcast for High Phrase is 90s Till Infinity, which is this podcast here, which features myself, Alite and Riz. So make sure you hit the subscribe.
Please.
That's what it's for. This is insane that we went through this album. I gotta say, as a hip hop fan, listening to music that I don't like is like a real eye opener.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me how much I really like good music.
Right.
After I listened to this album, the first song that came on to like the Smart Shuffle was MF Doom. And MF Doom is one of my favorites.
Right.
So having MF Doom come on was a nice like palette refresher.
Of course.
This is the very first album that's ever gonna get a 1.
Oh! I thought you were going to say 0. So you gave it something.
1. Yeah, because Hustlin is a banger.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
there's some beat selection that makes me feel like I should
Really good.
rap on that beat.
Yeah.
But the very first
1. Yeah, we haven't done a 1.
ever.
Yeah, you know what? I don't disagree with that. And like I said, if I wasn't so generous, I probably would have given at least a 2 or 1.5.
I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take a clip of this and we're gonna tag 50 Cent and post it
we
and
have
see
to.
if 50 Cent
We have to.
agrees with our assessment.
We have to. We have to. You imagine getting a response from 50?
Hey,
That'd
we
be
got
crazy.
some Chuck D love.
You got some love,
So
man.
we got some Chuck
you
D
got
love.
some celebrity love.
We got some MC Supernatural. Shout out MC Supernatural. We got some MC Supernat love. So hey man, if I can get some love from Chuck D,
Hey man, I mean that's the bar.
we're doing
right
the
there.
damn thing.
Definitely.
Shout out Chuck.
Shout out to Chuck and Pub PE. Yeah, so there it is. Port of Miami. Listen to it if you want. Like I said, a couple of bangers on there. I was happy that I got to hear a song like Push It that I've never heard before and I really liked. So I might listen to it more times because of the music.
So that's happened to you a couple times.
It has, and I like that. And same with the Tyler album. Never
Yeah.
heard it, and now I have a couple songs on my playlist. So this is why we do this. It's not just for you guys. We actually get something out of it too.
Culture, for
So before we wrap it up here, we got some hip hop news.
Nice.
I had a couple topics, and if you want to add in, did you last time we were talking about the Jada Kiss and Fat Joe podcast? Did you have a chance to check it out at all?
Just some clips.
Okay, I listened to one episode. What are your thoughts on it?
So Jada's much better than I expected.
You didn't think he was going to be good?
I didn't think he was going to be good. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
He is a bit of a personality. Right?
Yeah, it's not that I didn't think he was going to be good. I just didn't think that I would want to listen to him for an hour and a half talking.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad at all. I mean, Joe's entertaining. They got a good pace.
Yeah.
Their numbers skyrocketed.
You saw that.
Yeah.
It went from 99,000, now it's like 400.
Yeah,
300.
so I love that for them.
Right.
Like, I want to see all hip hop artists be successful.
Of course.
Post hip hop career.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I like the fact that they're not just talking about hip hop. They're talking about the
Yes.
culture. They're doing a lot of basketball playoff stuff.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they're touching on everything, and at the same time, they both have expanded just from rappers. They both own businesses.
Yeah.
They do the podcast out of a place called Kicks NYC or something like that. It's Fat Joe's like boutique.
He's got a few
store.
businesses in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
So they do it out of that, which is cool. Yeah, I was kind of unsure because I mean they've been friends for over 2 decades, going back to
Rough Riders.
Nas's album where they did John Blaze, all of them
Yes.
together. Remember Big Pun,
Yeah.
Fat Joe.
That's a great
So they've known each other. Rough Riders and Terror Squad. They've been known each other. So, and they're both. I can honestly say that they're both New York to the core.
Oh, absolutely.
They're at Knicks games.
Absolutely.
They got the New York gear. They have
Swag.
businesses in New York. They were born and raised in New York. I mean, they are New York. Right? Right? So but then saying that, I was just like, oh, do we need another podcast? We have a lot. I don't know. But you know what? It wasn't bad. I listened to an episode. They don't have numbers on their episodes, so I can't tell you which episode, but it was the one where it's titled 90s stories. So it's stories about them and they were talking about stories with Joe was talking about stories about Pac back in the 90s and and Big and all this stuff. And it was pretty good the way they feed off each other. They're kind of funny at times. They got some great stories to tell. So I'll definitely listen further and put it in the background.
Dope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So shout outs to Fat Joe and Jada, man. Keep doing that thing.
The one podcast I recently added that's not hip hop, but I guess kind of because he is big hip hop fan, Godfrey's podcast, the comic.
Is it good?
It's very good.
Does he have guests on there?
All the time. So he's got his opener that always comes to is Dante Nero, who's a comic as well.
Okay.
He's got this brown guy named Vishnu Vaka, and they always bag on him because he can't say the V's.
So he's got a bit of an accent?
He's got a bit of an accent.
Right.
Vishnu, he calls himself Vishnu, which is a really funny podcast because Godfrey's hilarious. He breaks out his impressions.
If you don't know who he is, probably one of the standout comedians in the last 10 years, maybe less than 5 years.
More. From Soul Plane days. Because he was in
right.
Soul Plane.
Oh, right.
He
but he didn't really make an impact
No.
until about COVID, right?
Yeah.
When he really started.
That's because he started to post every day and started to pop
and then
off.
he does some of the best impressions.
Some of the best.
Steve Harvey is ridiculous.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He does a great Jason Statham as well. But anyways.
Oh, and Wild 'N Out. He was on Wild 'N Out a little bit here and there.
Last past couple seasons.
Yeah.
So, great podcast to listen to.
I'm going to definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, we were talking about that earlier, releases the Carter 6.
Without much fanfare. Kind of just...
You know what? You're so right. Because I heard something. I heard that he was going to release it maybe about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of stumbled upon it in the last couple of days where people were talking about it. Like, he's actually releasing it. So yeah, no fanfare at all.
Popped out 19 tracks.
And this is like, I'm the guy who actually went out and bought every physical copy of the Carter up until this one, and I'm not gonna buy it because I don't really buy CDs anymore. Will I buy it on the digital platform? I've heard about 4 or 5 tracks, and there's a couple of pretty good.
Oh, you haven't gone through the whole thing yet.
I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. There's a couple not bad, but. What's your take? A, did we need a Carter 6? And B, where does Wayne stand in today's trajectory of hip hop?
Yeah, I think we needed a Carter 6 just because of the Super Bowl stuff. I think we needed a Carter 6 for Wayne to remind people that he's one of the GOATs in this game. Right. I don't think I want to see Wayne's career end with shitty music.
I totally agree. That would really ruin his legacy.
Yeah, I think he's done too much good shit, but it's so far away from where we're at now, and he hasn't done any features that people are like, oh wow, amazing. He's
nothing that really stands. I mean, I'm sure he's done lyrically, he's done well, but nothing that stands out.
Yeah, no, nothing that's like touched the Billboard or anything like that.
Is it an end of an era?
I think so, man. I think he birthed a whole bunch of people, and then he kind of dropped some classics, and then now it's time to Swan Song. But I want
Swan Song. That's a really good.
I want a Black Album from Wayne.
Yeah, you know what?
Like, I want to see him go out on top.
That would actually be nice.
10 amazing tracks.
But he would have to separate himself from the Carter series.
Yes.
Like, just have one final.
Totally different. Get Manny Fresh to produce the beats.
I'm with you.
Right? And just do a Manny Fresh Wayne album.
Or, if you're going to do it, if you're going to go all out, do it like the Black Album and have all the big boys.
All the gods.
Timbaland, Manny, Swizz.
Yes.
Because his last album, I liked a lot of the tracks. With Mona Lisa, with Kendrick.
It was a good album.
Swiss, right? The what do you call it? There
were some bangers. On
there. The G-Dep remake.
Right. Yes.
What the fuck? That's some bangers on that album.
Yeah.
So you still but with this one so far, from what I've heard, like I said, I haven't heard the whole album, but I don't have that excitement as.
And that's frustrating because it's 19 fucking songs.
It's too much.
It's crazy.
It's way too much. But yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about the album more. But that's out now, so listen to it on YouTube or go purchase it. And then the final tidbit for me is it's just a fun fact, but I don't know if you know this. You might know because you know a lot. But I never knew this. I was just randomly going through some things, and there was a clip of Bun B from UGK. Shout out to Bun B.
Yes.
So UGK and Outkast had a hit song called International Players Anthem.
One of the greatest
and I'm sure you remember
love songs of all time. Dude, Pimp C's got the best verse on that track.
I mean, the song, I don't know what's better, the song or the video.
And the
video is so great.
And the beat is amazing. Dude, Pimp C, my chick is choosy. Never let her fuck without a rub.
I think that might have been the last, or one of the last final Andre 3000 great verses. Right?
Very good.
But that song was produced by 3 6 Mafia. By DJ Paul and Juicy J. But that's not the fact.
That makes sense.
The fact is, they were actually supposed to be on the song and not Outkast. It was supposed to be UGK and 3 6 Mafia, but Bun B said that 3 6 Mafia was having problems with their label, Sony at the time. So Sony threatened them to not do any features until they negotiated it. So they had to step back. They could only produce it. They couldn't be on it. So then, out of the blue, they were with Outkast, and Andre 3000 heard the beat, and he's like, I want to rap to this.
Wow.
And then Big Boy heard it, and he goes, yeah, we got to be on this.
That's crazy.
And then that's what we have. But it was just out of sheer luck.
Well, okay. It's not like 3 6 Mafia would be bad on it, but it would not be the same song.
You're right. They would have brought their 3 6 Mafia flow to it.
Yeah.
But that beat, although they produced it, I feel like it's not a 3 6 Mafia beat.
No.
It's a little slowed down.
And it's got that beautiful sample.
It's beautiful.
And honestly, it's a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
That's one of hip hop's greatest contributions to music.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a random fact for you.
Yeah,
Anything?
so
you wanna
I
chat
don't know
about?
if you've been paying attention to what Nas is doing, but they got this thing called Mass Appeal.
Yeah, it's a company of some sort
It's
that
a company.
he owns, right?
It's a label production company.
I know he co-produces Drink Champs.
Yeah, so does he really?
Yeah, Mass Appeal has.
Oh, they got a piece.
They
of
have a
Drink
piece
Champs
of it.
now.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're basically producing albums for a whole bunch of '90s era artists: Slick Rick, Rakim. All these artists are on Mass Appeal.
So it's a record label too.
It's a record label production company, but they're basically going to sponsor the careers of all these '90s OG artists.
Well, I know Mass Appeal was heavily involved in that 50 years of hip hop, right?
Yes.
Where they brought all these.
Yeah, they put on the massive event at New York.
Oh, so that's cool.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about the details of Mass Appeal on the next episode, because I want to talk about how Nas is like really doing the damn, because Nas hit a Billy a while ago.
Well, he invested in Ring.
Yeah.
And he got like
and it fucking
something in an Uber.
So Nas is close to a Billy.
Yeah.
And he's really making sure that era of artists is taken care of. I think Rakim just got $1 million from Mass Appeal for some kind of achievement award that they gave.
So he's just giving out checks.
Yeah,
to the people that
and well deserved. It's earned. Hip hop doesn't have a union.
You know what? I wish I saw more of that. Like, I wish Jay-Z did a little bit of that.
He really could, because hip hop doesn't have a SAG after. Like, they don't have a union like that.
And there's always been talks about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some artists tried to push it forward. MC Search did a lot of work trying to push it forward.
I don't know if you had this wasn't a rumor, this is a fact, but back in the late 90s, Suge and Lil J and Irv Gotti were going to do a collective and have a hip-hop union. But they said, at the end of the day, how would it work? Would they trust? Who are they going to trust with their money?
A big problem was that Jay Prince and Irv Gotti would be constantly harassed by the FBI and the DEA.
True.
I think even up until 10 years ago, Jay Prince was having to fight these people in court.
True.
He always won.
You're right.
Jay Prince
but he's always in the mix of something.
He's always these legal things weigh down your resources.
And Suge would potentially bully people he didn't like in hip hop because he didn't like everybody.
100%.
You have to be very across the board if you're going to be in charge of something.
Yeah, just a quick Suge story before we get out of here. One of our homies goes to Vegas a lot.
Right.
And is heavily involved in hip hop. Probably wouldn't want to be named, so we won't name him. And he was at a club. He was at Suge's club, 662, and he walks into the club with a couple of his people, and Suge just takes up so much space.
So we're talking about like late 90s? Mid to late 90s?
Yeah, around the time he was about to go to jail. He was popping off a lot, showing up in places.
Right.
And he was like, we're just standing around and stuff, and he just sees this dude with his girlfriend at the bar, and he walks up, just grabs the girl by the arm and walks away, and the guy's just standing there, lost his girl to Suge, and can't do a damn thing about it.
So he did a Debo.
100%. And the word on the street was he did it a lot. He was a real dick to a lot of people.
I would not doubt that for a second.
And universal karma works in interesting ways.
It does.
On his way out, he got shot. Videos of him getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Now he's in prison for the rest of his life.
He's blind in one eye.
Yeah,
he's got major health problems.
When karma decides to come for you,
it does.
It fucks you up.
I totally believe in that.
Yeah. So we saw a little bit of that. But yeah, shout out to Nas for Mass Appeal.
Definitely.
And contributing to the betterment of 90s era hip hop artists that didn't have an option to be a part of a union. Entertainment industry didn't take care of them. So the fact that they get to have this hurrah later in their career, it feels really good. And it says a lot about where hip hop culture is going.
And you know what? I mean, a lot of these guys, they got really screwed on their contracts.
Big time.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there were no 50-50 deals. There were no publishing deals. They didn't get their publishing.
Nope.
Right? And now they're getting...
Daylight just got their publishing.
It's crazy.
But, they had to have a member pass away before anything happened.
Right.
We didn't even get to enjoy the spoils of it, right?
That's crazy. And then I think Nas realizes that if it wasn't for these guys, where would everybody else.
And Nas has always been dope like that.
He has.
Right?
That's very
He
true.
always gives up flowers to KRS-One and Cool G. He always gives flowers to the people that came before him.
Yeah.
He's very giving with praise.
Yeah.
Doesn't ever call himself the greatest. Doesn't ever do any of that kind of shit, right?
It's true.
So yeah, I mean,
and Jay too. I mean, Jay gives a lot of shout outs, and maybe he does financially in the background. I shouldn't say he doesn't, but you just haven't seen that really big thing like Nas is really out there.
And the difference is with Jay makes it very clear of what he thinks of himself.
True.
He calls himself the God MC, Jehovah, the greatest of all time. Jay fearlessly says he's the greatest.
He's not shy about that.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Leads with his ego.
He does.
And hey, man, there's something to be said for that. I can't argue. If we could say you're not the greatest, it's different, but it's hard to argue.
The thing is, he can back it up, and there's going to be a lot of arguments where you can't say he's not the greatest.
10 summers, 10 summers of dropping the best album every year. Every year.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a wrap.
Hit the subscribe.
Please
Much
support
love
us.
to everybody that helped get us up to where we are right now. We're slowly growing. We're cracking some numbers that are really nice to see. So we appreciate you guys' time.
Much love.
We appreciate the investment in the episodes.
Yes.
So we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's High Phrase. All those places. Hit all the buttons needed. I'm Alite.
I'm Riz.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
And it won't even let us end the episode. You want to keep talking to us? We can't do that.